Hey folks, today is Monday, August 24th, 2026. Coming up on Roland Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. I'm here in Atlanta for the 10th annual Chris Tucker Family Foundation Celebrity Golf Classic. Had a great time, literally just left the course, and so we'll hear a little bit later from Chris talking about, of course, this tournament and what he focuses on in raising funds for. Coming up on today's show, we'll talk about the continuing crisis in Gary, Indiana, where people are left without power after devastating storms hit the Midwest nearly 2 weeks ago. Also, on today's show, Donald Trump gets a win from the Supreme Court when it comes to the U.S. Postal Service and mail-in ballots. We will explain how that could impact the election in November. Also, on today's show, the white cop who went to prison for killing Sonia Massey has died. May he rest in hell. Also, we'll talk about the continuing drama when it comes to our electoral politics, and so lots to talk about when it comes to that. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison is suing the Texas Governor Greg Abbott because he is harboring, frankly, a fugitive. An ICE officer who shot and killed someone lied about it, and he fled to Texas. Wait till we explain to you what the hell is going on in this particular story. Some cops in Arizona have been fired and charged. Wait until we tell you what the heck they were engaged in. Also, Donald Trump screwing farmers by importing a lot of beef to lower prices. American farmers are pissed. Hashtag we tried to tell you. And we'll remember Michael Wright from the Five Heartbeats and, of course, the singer Lattimore both passed away over the weekend. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the fine. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
The American farmer has been devastated with Donald Trump being back in the White House. His tariffs have destroyed farmers all over the country. Now this idiot is doing more damage because he has been destroying the economy. He has signed an order to allow 300,000 metric tons of beef to be imported into the United States. Now, he was talking to reporters on Air Force One, where he literally said, oh my God, Argentina, they're dying, their economy is dying. And so he's letting this beef come into the country. Well, here's the problem. Even the White House put this out, that the U.S. cattle herd has decreased to record lows as a result of droughts, wildfires, and livestock disease restrictions. The shortage has driven average ground beef prices to record historic highs. Now, again, they are temporarily increasing the tariff rate quota, allowing a significant amount of Argentina beef into the country. Now, remember, this is the same country that the United States bailed out. Why? Because Donald Trump likes their dictator. This is what he said on Air Force One.
Question is, what do you have to say to U.S. farmers who feel that the deal is benefiting Argentina more than it is them, as they are
Argentina's fighting for its life, young lady. You don't know anything about it. They're fighting for their life. Nothing's benefiting Argentina. They're fighting for their life. You understand what that means? They have no money. They have no anything. They're fighting so hard to survive. If I can help them survive in a free world, I happen to like the president of Argentina. I think he's trying to do the best he can. But don't make it sound like they're doing great. They are dying. All right? They're dying.
Has he actually listened to American farmers? Folks who are filing for bankruptcy, who are losing their businesses, who are fighting to survive. We're talking farmers, Nebraska, Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, Virginia, Georgia, Florida, all around the country. A lot of these white farmers who voted for Trump, they're now crying. In fact, there was a photo of Donald Trump and these white cattlemen in the Oval Office. He's wearing a cowboy hat. They're wearing a cowboy hat. They're all smiles. Now one of those same farmers is now crying because of what Donald Trump is doing. John Boyd joins us right now. He leads the National Black Farmers Association, joining us from Baskerville, Virginia. And John, when Trump met at the White House, this big old thing he did with farmers, you were not invited. They were like, oh, we're not focusing on DEI, as if black farmers can't be at the meeting. And all of these farmers, I mean, you look at the numbers, some places 60, 70, 80%, they voted for Donald Trump. Now they were crying about soybeans. Now they're crying about cattle. They're crying about everything. And I'm going, what the hell is it going to take for these farmers, these largely white farmers, to recognize Donald Trump don't give a damn about them? This decision to import 300,000 metric tons of beef is going to be devastating to American farmers when it comes to cattle.
Yes, sir. Roland, 25% less. So he's telling farmers, beef cattle farmers, look, sell your beef 25% less than the market price. And what's killing me is he's sitting up here helping Argentina. He's all right, as you just laid it out there, Roland, gave him $40 billion. And this isn't the first time he's gave beef business to Argentina. And guess what? They just had a recall, Roland, on 30,000 pounds of Argentine beef in Texas and Florida. So the beef ain't no good, and we're sitting here buying it. And the president really didn't say it was Argentina. He's got like some secret on where he's going to get this beef from. But guess who's going to hurt? Mostly white farmers in this country, Roland. They're going out. 77 farmers every day are going out of business, and many of beef cattle producers in this country are going out of business, not under Biden, but under this president, Donald Trump, and his policies. And this last blow, Roland, is going to put more beef cattle farmers out of business who was already on the verge of losing their farms. And he's sitting there talking about Argentina's hurting farmers here. Roland, we got over 300 and some odd black farmers losing their farms. This administration ain't done nothing to help them. We have a rice farmer heading to foreclosure. He's driving down to his rice mill tomorrow to watch it be sold off. We lost the black-owned cotton gin, the oldest black-owned cotton gin in the United States, the last one left. In Alabama, we lost that one last week. So he's sitting there talking about these farmers hurting. When the Sam Hill is he going to help black farmers in this country? He doesn't have any plan to help them because guess what, Roland? They said, boy, you can't come to the meeting because we're moving away from the black farmer issue. We're moving away from DEI and the small farm issue. And it's not about race. We're just going to focus on large-scale farmers, Mr. Boyd, who happen to be white. And now they're sitting up here, Roland, going out of business in record numbers. But here's my thing here. Democrats, guess what? They don't want us to show up, and this is another example of a way to keep blacks from voting. Man, run to the polls on election day, because I don't know about you. I'm tired of this president. I'm tired of this black hate mission and agenda that they're openly doing, Roland. They're not doing this in disguise. They got the sheets off and their heads and the sheet on, and you can see their face. They don't want you. So we have to show them we don't want them by showing up and voting in record numbers on election day and midterm elections.
I mean, the thing that is stunning, the reporter asked the question about how is this going to impact American farmers. Mr. Make America Great Again wouldn't answer. He pivoted to, Argentina is getting killed. So are you now the president of Argentina, or are you the occupant of the United States Oval Office? And this goes to show what we keep saying. He does not give a damn about America. This is about his own economic interest.
And if it's not for some money for him, Roland, he doesn't care. Man, we got white farmers calling us. There's a white farmer in Texas, man, 20,000 acres. He's a farmer, 20,000 acres. He's going under. He's going under. And this administration ain't doing nothing to help. They don't care. All they wanted was their vote. And he keeps saying, I love farmers, and we're putting America first. How's this putting America first when you continue to help your buddies in foreign countries hand over fist? And Roland, he's giving them this money without an act of Congress. You know, where's Congress when he's making these announcements? Why isn't there an emergency hearing on the Hill to see what in the same world we're feeding our country? You know, beef that's coming into our country unregulated. We got issues with screwworm. They haven't even resolved that, Roland. And they're going to let more beef come from some foreign land instead of trying to increase the cattle herd. It takes 1 year, Roland. If we start to buy cattle right now and make them, it's going to be a year. So people that's watching this, before that cow drops a calf. They need to be invested more into small-scale farmers. They need to be invested in black farmers, keeping them on the farm. And instead of giving Argentina $40 billion, invested in some black farmers, man. Now, let me tell you something, Roland. We are the best farmers. We are the best farmers. Because guess what? They keep trying to run us out of business. Hey, man, we're still here. And my daddy said black farmers was like an old bad weed. We just keep popping back up. So they keep trying to put us out of business. They're saying you ain't good enough to come to the White House. And guess what, Roland? I got a couple hundred head of beef cattle here. And his policies still ain't gonna hurt me. I would die before I let this administration put me out of business. And guess what? And that's what Black America should be saying. Go out and support the National Black Farmers Association. We should not be losing 300 farmers when we got athletes, we got people on media companies, Roland, all these people that can help save generational black farmers. This administration isn't going to help us. Then why aren't we helping ourselves? I mean, I shouldn't have to be here. And guess what, Roland? This is the only platform, man, I can come on and say this. So they need to be supporting you more out here in black-owned media as well.
Okay, so what the hell are these white farmers saying? I mean, here you are. We're almost 2 years in. They were destroyed the first time he was in there, okay?
Yeah.
He's destroyed the farmers when it comes to soybeans. He's destroyed them. And I read these articles, John, and it's like, well, you know, we hope these things turn around. And this is a fundamental fact. Farmers in the United States did better economically under Joe Biden than they have under Donald Trump. But these folks would never support Biden, and they believe that this thug who is just enriching himself is their answer. He's not. He doesn't give a damn about them. He's playing them for fools. What are they saying? Are they going to wake the hell up?
That's the question. And it doesn't seem like it. They voted for this man 3 times. Do you remember on your show we talked about how people need to be fired up and voting for Harris for president? You were out there every day, Roland, and why it was important. Now, guess what? Now they crying stuffed pig because they didn't listen. And guess what, man? Don't pay me with the same brush, because I read these comments, well, maybe he voted for Trump. I didn't vote for Trump. I supported Harris, and I came on this platform and told black farmers and the rest of our community why we should be voting for Harris and what would happen if they elected Donald Trump. So now they have him, and guess who's hurting more? We already know he was in for it when he got elected, so black people know it. They know we didn't want him. It was a smoke and screen show and all this stuff. But white farmers never thought they'd be losing farms like that size, a 20,000 acre operation under a president who said that they wanted them. So let's see what happens on election day. Will they go back in there and pull the lever again for Trump candidates, or will they pull it for America and somebody else, man, that wants a different direction and at least a party that wants to be inclusive. There's other parts that they don't want you at all. They don't want you at the table, and they said it and they've shown it to you day in and day out.
These folks have no clue, and I just don't think they're ever gonna wake up. John Boyd, we appreciate it, man. Keep up the fight. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Roland. We love you, brother. Hang in there.
I appreciate it. I'm going to bring in my panel. Renita Shannon, former Georgia State House representative from Atlanta. Randy Bryant, entrepreneur, author, speaker from D.C. as well. State Representative Jolanda Jones, attorney and author of Owning My SHIT out of Houston. Glad to have all three of y'all. Renita, listen, you got lots of farmers there in Georgia. And these white farmers, again, my whole deal is, sorry, I don't feel sorry for them. They chose to vote for this man 3 times. He has screwed them every single time. And they still, oh, Donald, he's the greatest thing in the world. Well, you know what? Sorry. Screw y'all. And listen, the only people I give a damn about are the black farmers, because these white farmers, all they do is suck up to Trump all day long.
Absolutely. And he's making a fool out of everybody who voted for him, farmer or not, because he campaigned on America first. And then you see that he's buying beef from Argentina. When you said Argentina, I thought, Argentina? Almost like the 90s commercial, New York City? Like, what? Because that's just completely unbelievable. And when the reporter said, you know, why are you doing this? He got defensive and attacked her and said, you don't understand. The people of Argentina are suffering. Okay, so, like, you think that it's inexpensive to live here in America? I mean, farmers in America are suffering. But the thing that's so crazy to me is I'm not even a farmer. But this is at least the second time that I remember that through his actions, he has directly cost farmers and brought them more hardship. Because you got to remember, his war of choice with Iran has caused the Strait of Hormuz to be off and on, open and closed, no consistency. And that has really restricted the amount of fertilizer that farmers can get. And so farmers have been saying all year, we don't even know if we're going to have enough fertilizer to grow our crops. So this is the second time that through his own direct actions that did not need to be taken, that he has brought hardship to farmers. And it's just unbelievable.
I'm going to expand this, Randy, to now Trump has imposed these new tariffs on Canada. The bourbon industry in Kentucky has been decimated because Canada said, nah, take all that crap off the shelves, we ain't buying nothing. Las Vegas economy is in tatters. I mean, the casinos are dying because Canadians said, yeah, we ain't traveling to y'all country. And then other international tourists are not traveling. Last year, in year one, it's estimated that Trump cost the tourism industry in excess of $10 billion because of his attacks on undocumented folks and, of course, the tariffs as well. This idiot is destroying the economy. And these fools are running around going, oh, no, this is just an amazing, it's a fantastic, it's an incredible economy. I'm like, so all y'all on meth?
One must wonder, right? What type of drug are they on? And I believe the drug is whiteness. Whiteness is a hell of a drug because it forces them to see what they want to see from this man. I don't understand how they don't get that this person that they elected, this felon, is not a businessman and never was. I mean, if you look at his history, he all he did was start and close and fail businesses. And this is exactly what he's doing now. It seems like America is almost shut down. You talk about the meat industry. How many of us right now are just scared to eat? I go to the grocery store and I'm trying to figure out what is safe to pick up now because he allowed Doge to literally gut out, the food inspectors. So we don't know what's safe to eat or not. Now he's accepting meat that has issues with it so he can support another country. This is a man who ran on America first, is putting Argentina first. It just absolutely boggles the mind. like you mentioned, what he's doing with Canada. I mean, how do you upset Canada? It almost seems impossible, but he has done it. So they are not in any way supporting America whatsoever. And it seems as if he doesn't understand that people can say no to him, that they have recourse. And so he tries to bully people, and everybody from Iran to Canada is like, okay, bet, I got you. Watch how you like me now. And they're just making us look completely stupid. And it seems as if everyone seems to get that, but his fans, his followers, the people who seem to see him as a god. And I don't get it, because I know for a fact that they're feeling it at the gas tank. I know they're feeling it when they go to the grocery store. I know they're feeling it when they are, even now the job economy is bad. It's hurting them in the pocketbook. And historically, people do vote and with their pocketbooks, but it seems that this man can't penetrate that. Like you said, it must be meth. It's got to be meth. I don't know.
John Carl of ABC did an interview with the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, Yolanda, and he said, you said that gas was going to be $2 or less. And then Abbott, he said, no, but you said it was going to be $2 or less. And Abbott couldn't answer the question. All of these Republicans, they all were spouting utter nonsense about this economy. Oh, it's going to be golden. It's going to be amazing. And gas is over $4. Beef prices up. Numerous things, affordability is an issue. Everything they said was a lie. And this is a fact. And this is not, shilling for Democrats. It's not covering Republicans. Facts are facts. And that is more jobs. 96% of all jobs in the United States since 1989 have been delivered under Democratic presidents. It's a fact. And so the fallacy is that Republicans are better for the economy. No, Yolanda, they are better for corporations. They are better for the wealthy. And what they've done is they've got people buying, they really believe in the economy. No, they are about tax cuts, stock buybacks, only the stock market. They do not care about regular, ordinary people. And I hope black folks are just racing to the polls, because they need to understand they damn sure don't care about us. And what we can't do is hope these white folks actually wake up and gain their senses, because they're also getting screwed economically.
So first of all, Trump supporters are stupid. You could literally pee on them in front of their faces, and they would literally, if Trump said, no, that's right, they would believe it. So if black folks are waiting for white folks to wake up and vote with intelligence, then we're going to be waiting a long time. It's the first thing that I'm going to say. The second thing that I'm going to say is, yes, we should be running to the polls to vote, but I fear that because the economy is so bad and people can't find jobs and people don't have a place to stay, people can't find child care, people aren't getting paid a living wage, that they will be so focused on just surviving that they may let the midterms go by. And I said, here in Texas, they're absolutely not inspired by Tallarico, right? Not black folks. Now, white folks are, but those are white progressives. It ain't the white progressives we need to worry about. We need the other white folks to worry about it. And what I don't understand is, as I listened when you played what Trump said, he said that Argentina is fighting for their life. Okay, well, we in the United States are fighting for our life, and black people extra. That if he can help them survive, he's going to do it. Well, what about helping Americans survive, including black Americans? Well, the Argentinians are dying. Well, so are we. You need to help us. And Argentinian meat has been recalled. Nothing Donald Trump does makes sense, but his supporters, I would say they perform intellectual gymnastics, except for they're not intellectuals. They figure out a way to do exactly what he said, which is before he won, he said, I could go and murder somebody in the middle of the street and my supporters would still vote for me. So as to the white farmers, almost all of whom voted for him, you FAFO. That's what happened. So I don't feel sorry for them. I do feel sorry for black farmers. And, we're going to have to get through this, Roland. But if we're waiting on people to go and vote out that madman who literally is selective with the foreign countries that he supports, because if it's Argentinian, he loves it, even though he's deporting them too. So I don't understand why anybody is surprised at what Trump is doing, because he continues to do things that defy logic. And it's not, what'd you say, you called it meth, Roland? I think it's more like fentanyl. They on fentanyl.
Well, listen, here's the position I take. We're going to talk about some electoral stuff a little bit later. Supreme Court has given Donald Trump a win when it comes to this ridiculous executive order when it comes to mail-in ballots. And conservatives are doing exactly what they have always been doing. That is doing whatever Donald Trump wants. So we'll talk about that in a second. But I'll also talk about this whole idea about in terms of black voters being excited. Here's what we know based upon data. The data clearly shows, okay, that because of what the Louisiana versus Calais decision, what we have seen a dramatic increase in states with significant black turnout. Now, the Calais decision came down after the Texas primary, which was in March. We have seen an increase in black participation in South Carolina, in Tennessee, in several different states. It's also August. And so my whole deal is when it comes to Texas, when it comes to even some of the other states, as we get into September and October, you're going to see more people paying attention to the election. That's absolutely going to happen. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not focused on any state and black people being excited. I think the position that we're in right now is an inform and educate and enlighten stage. And then as we get through August, as we get through the first half of September, as you begin to approach the registration deadlines, then it's going to be how do we then also get folks registered. Now, once folks get registered, then the whole focus is going to be how do you then turn them out. That's what it's going to be. And I have said this before. I don't care whether it's Tallarico or Ossoff or Cooper in North Carolina. I don't care whether it's Sherrod Brown in Ohio. I don't care whether it's Cologne in Mississippi. If you've got Angie Nixon running in Florida as well. I say this to black people. I'm not waiting on a candidate or a party to energize our people. What I am going to say to black people, which is what I said in 2021, okay? Somebody posted this. Somebody was like, hey, Taraji told y'all about it probably 2025, and his brother said, Roland Martin was telling y'all this in 2021. I read the Axios story from 2021 and the New York Times story from 2021 about Project 2025. So we were telling folks that 3 years ahead of time. We were telling black people what was going to go down when it came to this election and what these people were going to do and how they were targeting black people. If there's a moment where black folks should be, hey, we're voting about our future and our survival because these folks have a bullseye on black people, this is it. And so I need every black person, whether your ass 18 or 70, 75, 80, to understand there is no moment to sit here and go, the couch is an option. What these people want to do is to destroy us. They are targeting every facet of black America. And I'll say this to every black organization, to D9, to Prince Hall Mason, Eastern Star, Jack and Jill, Links, church groups. I don't care who the hell you are. Y'all better be locked and loaded when it comes to politics, when it comes to educating people, because no black organization, no black group is safe from what these people are doing. They want to destroy the entire black infrastructure that we've had. And this is not a time to get cute. This is not a time to be holding grudges. I'm about winning. And the only way, let me be as clear as possible, you cannot boot Trump out of the Oval Office. What you can do is boot the Republicans from having control in the United States Senate. You can stop them from controlling the United States House. And then the focus come January 2027 will be the 2028 election. The Supreme Court, guess what? Those are lifetime appointments. You can't do anything until somebody resigns or passes away and an opening is created. But I'm telling black people this. It is going to get worse if MAGA Republicans maintain power over the House and Senate come November 4th. If you think I'm lying, FAFO, and you're going to see what's going to go down. I'm telling you right now. I'll be right back. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. All right, folks, let me get personal for a second. My mom had questions about her Medicare, so she called Chapter, a Medicare advisory company, and she texted me right after saying it's a great benefit. It was easy. A real person walked her through the whole thing, and now she understands better what's going on. But it's not just her. A woman in Yonkers wrote in saying the process was so simple, the enrollment was easy, and she was so glad she called. Then there's Marilyn, 90 years old, in Florida, living on Social Security. Her premium climbed every single year north of $400 a month for coverage she could barely afford anymore. So what does she do? She called Chapter. They found her the same top-tier coverage for hundreds of dollars less. 90 years old, and finally somebody in her corner. I hear stories like that again and again from our community. The Medicare system was not built to work for you. Too much fine print, too many plans. Yet Chapter's advisors are independent and honest, the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide. They're focused on one thing, what actually works for you. If you're already in the right plan, they'll tell you. No games. And people who switched with Chapter saved an average of $1,100 a year. All it takes is 20 minutes. You talk to a real person, and it's completely free help. So call Chapter at 724-264-8281, 724-264-8281. That's Chapter.
Let me ask you a question. Why do so many people seem to think they know black men so well? What they think we want, what they think we need. Hell, they even tried to tell us why and how we voted, but never had a conversation with us. Never asked us how we felt, what brings us joy, what makes us angry, what makes us scared. How do we live? That's what this show is about. No translation, because we don't need anybody speaking for us. We can speak for ourselves. This will be a show where we bring brothers on that you don't see on every other talk show. Nope. Brothers that are doing work in local communities with black men for black communities. We're going to hear each other and try to understand, so perhaps we can move forward together. No translation, because we don't need anybody speaking for us. Nope. What we need is each other. No translation, right here on the Black Star Network. Check it out.
My name is Bill Duke, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
A Tennessee family says a black man was having a mental breakdown when he was shot by a federal agent. 25-year-old Jonah Neal was killed inside his Memphis home in late May by a federal agent who worked for Homeland Security Investigations, which is part of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Family attorney Andre Wharton says he and Neal's mother were recently shown Bodycam footage by the Shelby County District Attorney's Office regarding this shooting. He joins us right now. Andre, glad to have you here. So, okay, this shooting took place in Memphis. What was the rationale for the federal agent did he fire into the home? Did the agent go into the home? And what was the basis of what was the basis of him interacting with this young man?
Roland, good evening. Thanks for having us this evening. It's a very important story, and I appreciate you having us come talk to you. The rationale that's been stated, there was a call that came in to police here, our local dispatch. The task force, as you alluded to, Homeland Security Investigations, came to the scene that afternoon to engage the mother who had made this phone call. The mother then briefed the task force agents about the situation, described that Jonah was suffering basically what amounts to a mental health crisis. The agents, within minutes later, approached the apartment home. They were able to get a visual on Jonah. unfortunately, for reasons unknown at this time, and is really astounding and really concerning to myself and the family, one of the agents could clearly see that Jonah was not possessing a firearm, was in fact had a knife. She corrected the first agent who believed there was a gun. I think the first agent could be heard on the video alluding to there being a gun that Jonah had, and the agent behind her said, no, it's a knife, it's a knife. In what appeared to be an attempt to calm her down, her colleague there. And for reasons unknown, that really, really baffled me as the attorney here in this family as well. Seconds later, this agent shot from outside of the house, outside this apartment house, his resident house, from the porch area, shot into the house, and what we believe what was a fatal wounding to Jonah. That's the essence of there are other details, but that's the essence of how this happened.
Okay. So he's having a mental episode. He's having a mental breakdown. Mom calls. Why did federal law enforcement show up and not Memphis PD?
Roland, I can't answer that question other than poor training, perhaps poor supervision, poor implementation of policy. I remind you, when this task force came in back in September of last year, when the idea, the concept of task force entering Memphis, there was a lot of concern locally in terms of what were going to be the rules of engagement. What is this task force going to be doing? What is their training? You're correct. I mean, your question of it begs the key question here, and what the folks that came out, why not MPD, Memphis Police Department? They have a crisis intervention team. And you're familiar with CIT, crisis intervention training. We have an actual crisis intervention team that is often dispatched to calls like this. This was not a situation, Roland, I point out, that the officers did not know, these agents did not know what kind of situation they were engaging with. They knew before they went in. They got a briefing from the mother. The video shows this. But like I say, I want to emphasize, for reasons unknown, the officers rushed to the porch. It appeared that there was, just from my perception, that they were not used to dealing with a scenario like this. And for whatever reason, this officer fired after a colleague had just told her this man did not have a weapon. So I don't know why the agents didn't back off, take a strategic approach and figure out if they had the right personnel on the scene to engage Jonah. But that's something we're looking at daily here right now.
Okay, so what has the city of Memphis said? What is the council? What is the mayor? What has the police chief said? Because, again, I'm just still, the mother did not call to say a man is waving a gun. The mother did not call to say my life is being threatened. And the reason why this is so painful is because this is another example of a black mother or father calling police and their son ends up dead. We literally have done this story so many times. Rochester, New York, Dallas, Texas, St. Louis, over and over and over again, and the same thing happens. And this is what we talk about. When people were talking about defund the police, they were talking about shifting resources to where you have mental health advocates and others who are showing up on scenes like this here. This is not a scene where that law enforcement is trained to handle.
Yeah. No, Roland, you're right on point on the issues there. I mean, this is a situation that illustrates the importance of proper training, but it also it's bigger than that. When this task force came and the announcement was rolled out, you need only go back to the rhetoric that was kind of displayed there at the press conference, October 1st, 2025. Words such as, we're going to unleash you, were used at that press conference. And these are senior folks from the administration in Washington, D.C. And they're telling folks, the local MPD, Memphis Police Department, as well as these agents who are going to come out and be in our community, that you're going to be unleashed. What that does, Roland, the danger with that is it sends the wrong mindset, because there are no checks and balances. There are no, hold on, slow down, what are we dealing with here? Let's figure out, how do we engage this community? How do we engage this particular citizen? and it becomes problematic because it's chaos, it's reckless. And so, to your point, we have individuals who are trained here locally. But if you have to have strategies in place to address situations as they come about, there cannot be a knee-jerk approach to law enforcement. Some of these individuals, Homeland Security investigations, I dare say our research reveals so far, they're not trained in crisis intervention. This is a unique area, and you pointed it out. His mother called initially and described the situation. She was concerned about her son. She talked about what her concerns were at that time. She did. I want to be clear about it. There was a description about, hey, look, I'm concerned about my son, his safety at this time. But when the law enforcement agents got there, the task force agents, she briefed them. Again, they knew everything about his mental health situation at that time that they needed to know to engage the right personnel, and it didn't happen. And the man is deceased because of it.
Absolutely unbelievable. Andre, we certainly appreciate it. Keep us abreast of what happens next in this case.
Thank you, Roland. We will do that. You have a good evening.
Thanks a bunch. I want to go to Jolanda first. Jolanda, we've literally done this story so many times. And these are federal agents. We've said numerous times that a lot of police department officers are not trained to handle. They are trained to shoot and kill. They're not trained to deal with mental breakdowns. And this is going to continue if these elected officials don't do something about this. And if I'm the mayor of Memphis, Paul Young, if I'm the city council, I'm yelling and I am going the hell off because one of your citizens is dead because some idiot federal agent did not understand how to deal with someone who is having a mental crisis.
Well, a lot of things jump to mind. The first thing that jumped to mind is what you said, Roland, which is why the hell is Homeland Security responding to a local call for mental health issues? I was looking, Homeland Security's primary duties are border security, counterterrorism, cyber security, disaster preparedness and response, transportation and security, protection of critical infrastructure. I mean, none of that is mental health related, first of all. Second of all, what you've had is Trump tie federal funding to local law enforcement to, you need to let my federal agents come infiltrate your police. And that's what this is about. And, I've been very disappointed in a number of Democratic cities with Democratic mayors pandering to Trump in order to get money, which for the most part, they're co-signing on these federal agents coming in and doing things that they're just not trained at doing. But even before you get to all that, this has been going on time and time again, especially here in Houston, for example, where there's a whole question about whether law enforcement should respond to mental health crises. There should be mental health experts responding to mental health crises. But you also have to remember that when we're having mental health crises, I don't think Black people should call the police when their kids are having breakdowns, because there's a very high likelihood that their kids will end up dead because the police don't care about us. And they're already afraid of us anyway as Black people, and they take everything as a threat. They take our very existence as a threat. And so I think a lot of questions need to be asked about how we got here. But the first people that I would question, apart from the Homeland Security person, is the person who shot and killed him, is ask the mayor and whoever the police chief is, why the hell is Homeland Security responding to calls that you should be responding to? And if there is a task force, which they do that all the time, the city needs to be sued as well. Homeland Security may have pulled the trigger, but Memphis PD are complicit in what Homeland Security did. And so that's my opinion on it. I'm extremely disappointed, but I'm not surprised because, as you said, Roland, we hear this story over and over and over again. And even if my son were having a mental health crisis, I would be too terrified to call the police because they don't protect and serve Black communities. They harass and kill us.
Renita, another Black man dead, senseless, makes no sense. why the shooting took place. Makes no sense at all. And we know Donald Trump has made it clear he's going to give these cops immunity. And the federal agent, hell, he'll just pardon them. Nothing's going to happen. You're not going to have a real investigation. We're going to talk in a minute about the case dealing with the Attorney General in Minnesota and the governor of Texas.
Well, Roland, you already know what I'm going to say because I've been saying this for years on your show. And that is, this is what I try to tell people years ago. It is not about the training. It defies logic that it is about the training for police officers, whether they be on a task force, whether it be ICE or whoever. We know it's not about the training because when they come in contact with white people with mental illness, this is not their response. This is their response in black neighborhoods because the system does not hold them accountable so they can waste our lives. And there is essentially nothing done about it. I have always supported reducing police budgets, which is defunding the police, because we know that throwing endless money at police forces only leads to more harassment and particularly harm for black folks. So, you know, I think that through this story, folks need to understand that this is not an issue that will be solved with training. It is an issue of accountability, and it is also an issue of continuing to throw endless money at police departments, which turn around and use that money to harass our communities. And so I agree with Representative Yolanda. I told my constituents the same thing. Do not call police unless it is absolutely essential. And honestly, there's very few circumstances where I would agree that it was essential, because you are really taking not only your life in your hands, but if you're calling police for a loved one, you're absolutely taking their lives you're putting their lives in police officers' hands.
Randy?
I believe that we are at the point that we need to stop being reactive. I mean, we get the message. Like you said, we have all been on this show talking about stories like this over and over again, and frankly, I'm sick of it. A mother should be able to call for help for her child and not worry that that child is going to end up dead. So at this point, I really believe that we need to decide within a community that what are we going to do? Like, if this means that we need to look at Black mental health professionals, and there needs to be a hotline or someone that we can call specifically for us, that is what we need to do. I don't want to do another story like this. I don't want to pretend that the police are going to change or suddenly we can train them out of being fearful of us. We can't train them to stop seeing us as criminals all the time. What we need to do is just live with the fact of how they treat us, how they see us, how that they have no qualms about taking our lives, and set up solutions and be very active about finding ways that that a mother at least has somebody that they can call when our people are in crises, because the police aren't it.
No, they're not. That leads me to talk about this story that's out of Minnesota and Texas. And it ties in directly with what we're talking about here. The Attorney General of Minnesota, Keith Okay, so here's the deal. Keith Ellis is going to join us at 7:30. But it's the same thing, y'all. It's the same thing. ICE agent shoots a man inside of his home in Minneapolis. Okay? They lie about it. And he now flees to Texas. We'll talk about it at 7:30, but it's the same thing. We have seen in numerous cases where these federal agents, Jolanda, lie. They say one thing, and then the body cam footage says something totally different, and nothing happens. These people, this is what they do. Listen, I keep saying, if a cop, a local cop, a state cop, or a federal cop, if they lie on that police report and it's proven they lied, it should be automatic termination. And so they have this get out of jail free card, this qualified immunity, allows them to do whatever they want to do. This stuff continues to happen because we have granted so much authority and leeway to law enforcement that they know, no big deal. We'll lie about it and we're going to get off. Jolanda, you're muted. We can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I'm a criminal defense lawyer in my day job, right? So I've been looking at this for a long time. I've literally caught police officers lying on the stand. And rather than the DA filing charges against him for perjury, the DA literally dismisses the case against the person they lied on. And then when you try to get something done, then they say, well, the case is moot, it's over, and there is no refuting testimony because they dismissed the case and you didn't get witnesses to come in to prove the lie. So it's deeper than that. Not only should they lose their jobs, but they should have criminal charges filed against them for perjury. But it's not a surprise to me that they would flee to Texas because we protect police officers. Police officers kill people all the time. And Roland, you got to remember, it hasn't been that long that police officers have even been getting convicted on these cases. I mean, we've had cases where the cops do throw down guns, where people happen to be recording, and we know the police are lying, and they still find ways to get the police officers off. So what Trump is doing is basically taking us back to a time when police officers always got off on killing us. And so, again, and in Texas, they come here because in Texas, we want to make sure they literally believe that if you happen to die and the police kill you, that it was collateral damage because they deal with such dangerous people that if you happen to be in their crosshairs, that it's okay. Whether that's from police chases with police cars or to anything else. So we are complaining, and there used to be a time before Trump stacked the Supreme Court where it could get up to the Supreme Court and you might have a chance. Now, the Supreme Court literally have whittled away at our civil rights, so we don't have rights. And I suspect if any of these police cases these new police cases get to the Supreme Court, or if they even survive and not get poured out at the Court of Appeals, that the Supreme Court is going to grant greater immunity to the police. But the first thing we have to do is vote like we've never voted before in the midterms so that we can limit Trump's authority at the federal level, but also so we can limit these states that have Republican majority so that we can flip those houses so that we can try to stop this qualified immunity. And if we take over the House and we take over the Senate federally and we get rid of Trump or Republicans in 2028, then perhaps we can try to get rid of qualified immunity, because so long as qualified immunity exists, the police will get away with murdering us all day, every day, every day.
But the bottom line, I keep telling people, it's bit by bit. You can't get to 28 unless you deal with 26. And so I'll walk them through that. Let me do this quickly before I go to a break. Karen Attiah was the last African-American on the Washington Post editorial board. She was fired due to her comments regarding Charlie Kirk, when an arbitrator has now ruled that the Washington Post was wrong and has ordered that she be reinstated. Also, that she is owed full back pay and benefits. She spent 11 years at the Washington Post. She became a founding editor of Global Opinion. She was fired in September following, again, 2 social media posts commenting on racial double standards. The Post attempted to frame her public post as, quote, gross misconduct in its decision to fire her, but the independent arbitrator flatly rejected this justification, finding that her words did not disparage any group on the basis of race or gender. The arbitrator's decision condemns the Post's attempt to hold Attiah responsible for the threats of violence directed at her by external actions, calling it, quote, wholly rejected justification for silencing a journalist. Karen Attiah will be joining us on tomorrow's Roland Martin Unfiltered. All right, folks, got to go to a break. We come back. We'll talk about what's happening, get an update on what's happening in Gary, Indiana, and why is the energy department, why is the energy company, the local energy company and its parent company, why are they so slow to respond? But they continue to pull money out of the accounts of Gary residents to pay their electric bills. We'll discuss that next. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Don't forget to support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing on average $50 each a year. It comes out to $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day to support this show and the other 5 shows here on the Black Star Network. If you want to contribute via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. As for credit cards as well. Checks and money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo RM Unfiltered. Zelle Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back. All right, folks, let me get personal for a second. My mom had questions about her Medicare, so she called Chapter, a Medicare advisory company, and she texted me right after saying it's a great benefit. It was easy. A real person walked her through the whole thing, and now she understands better what's going on. But it's not just her. A woman in Yonkers wrote in saying the process was so simple, the enrollment was easy, and she was so glad she called. Then there's Marilyn, 90 years old, in Florida, living on Social Security. Her premium climbed every single year north of $400 a month for coverage she could barely afford anymore. So what does she do? She called Chapter. They found her the same top-tier coverage for hundreds of dollars less. 90 years old, and finally somebody in her corner. I hear stories like that again and again from our community. The Medicare system was not built to work for you. Too much fine print, too many plans. Yet Chapter's advisors are independent and honest, the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide. They're focused on one thing, what actually works for you. If you're already in the right plan, they'll tell you. No games. And people who switched with Chapter saved an average of $1,100 a year. All it takes is 20 minutes. You talk to a real person, and it's completely free help. So call Chapter at 724-264-8281, 724-264-8281. That's Chapter.
Let me ask you a question. Why do so many people seem to think they know black men so well? What they think we want, what they think we need. Hell, they even tried to tell us why and how we voted, but never had a conversation with us. Never asked us how we felt, what brings us joy, what makes us angry, what makes us scared. How do we live? That's what this show is about. No translation, because we don't need anybody speaking for us. We can speak for ourselves. This will be a show where we bring brothers on that you don't see on every other talk show. Nope. Brothers that are doing work in local communities with black men for black communities. We're going to hear each other and try to understand so perhaps we can move forward together. No translation, because we don't need anybody speaking for us. Nope. What we need is each other. No translation, right here on the Black Star Network. Check it out.
I'm Chris Tucker, and you watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. Boy, you keep rolling with Roland.
Folks, it's been nearly 2 weeks since a massive storm blew through Gary, Indiana. It took place on August 11th. The winds reaching upwards of almost 100 miles an hour. Thousands are still without power. The storm, it was frankly comparable to a Category 2 hurricane, and it knocked out power to nearly more than 38,000 residents. The utility company NIPSCO said it's targeting full power restoration by Tuesday, August 25th. Capital B reporter Calvin Davis is based in Gary. He's been working without power and has been talking to dozens of residents, city officials, and community activists about their experience. He joins us right now. Okay, Calvin, we had a Gary councilman on the show on last week who said that they said that power is going to be restored on Friday. Well, today is Monday and it's still not restored. Have residents in Gary completely lost faith in NIPSCO leadership?
Yeah, well, that date has been extended each and every week, essentially. Like you said, power initially was knocked out Tuesday, August 11th. Initially, there was a message that power could possibly be restored by that Friday. And then we waited an entire another week after that. Slowly, residents are starting to come back on grid. At this point, we have about 8,000. And so NIPSCO is kind of busting their butts to meet that deadline that was set. However, the amount of time that has transpired, the mayor, the governor, other mayors around, our elected officials are starting to focus their eyes on NIPSCO to see both what they could have done in terms of preparedness on the front end, but also gauge what their response was. In fact, the mayor right now is stating that the company didn't employ enough linemen because of the situation that we had here. So many down power lines, and in order to get those reinstated, you have to cut trees, and you need a lot of manpower. And right now, the questions are around what did NIPSCO do on the front and the back end to protect their customers?
So let's do this here for folks to understand. We're going to show NIPSCO's leadership, okay? So you have Vince Parisi, President and Chief Operating Officer of NIPSCO. Karima Hassan Bey is Vice President for Gas Operations. There are some other leaders that they have there, but their NiSource is the parent company of NIPSCO. Lloyd Yates is President and Chief Executive Officer, NiSource Inc. Come on, guys, pull up NiSource, please. Okay, so Lloyd Yates is President and CEO of NiSource. Sean Anderson is Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer at NiSource. Melanie Berman is Executive Vice President of Administration and Chief Human Resources Officer. Melody Birmingham is Executive Vice President and Group President of Utilities. Kim Kuchia, Executive Vice President, General Counsel, and Corporate Secretary. William Jefferson is Executive Vice President and Chief Operating and Safety Officer. Michael Lures, Executive Vice President of Technology, Customer, and Chief Commercial Officer. Angela Sanchez, VP, Chief Communications Officer. And so again, NiSource is the parent company of the company there that's in NIPSCO, that's in Gary, Indiana, and I'm sorry, listen, I'm from Houston. I've lived through 3 hurricanes. I understand power. We're not talking about a city the size of Houston, Texas. Okay? We're not. So I'm just trying to understand how in the world NiSource hasn't rushed people there to help NIPSCO when it comes to restoring power. We're talking about, this took place on August 11th. Today is August 24th. That is a very, very long time to go without power. You're dealing with food. You're dealing with food shortages, water shortages. You're dealing with the weather as well. And so this utility company owes residents Gary a lot of answers. And my understanding, they're still withdrawing money out of people's accounts for their electric bills.
Yeah, there are definitely still bills coming in the mail. And actually, looking at the list of their executives that you put up there, I was actually able to question Melody directly last week because she attended a press conference at City Hall. And what I want to do also be clear about is that this event knocked out the power to our entire county, which was about 300,000 customers. But the issue for us in Gary is the fact that Gary is the last to end up receiving their full power back. When I asked Ms. Birmingham, what issues made the recovery in Gary specifically so tough? And she spoke about the trees. And I even spoke with an arborist last week who said the tree coverage in Gary was a bit higher than some of the neighboring cities. But still, our governor, our mayors are still looking at NIPSCO to find out what they could have done on the front and the back end. And even our governor is, filing for an investigation in terms of their response. So, that's what they're saying. The residents currently, as I've written, they've been leaning on themselves because they've also been void of federal assistance that they've been waiting for. The governor submitted a request that the president declare a major disaster area, which is yet to come yet. So residents have been looking to faith-based organizations, community organizations to get themselves through.
Questions from the panel. Randy, you first.
Hi, it seems like you have really been doing your research and keeping in contact with all the people who matter. Have the discussions been honest where people are saying that bringing up race and economic levels, because we have to be real about what's going on. I mean, it's interesting to talk about the trees and things like that, but why weren't the trees maintained well in the first place and cut away from the electric lines?
Yeah, and that's what we're starting to look at now. So, all that there has been a class action lawsuit filed on behalf of Lake County customers. And I was able to look through some of the details of the lawsuit. It all pretty much surrounds around that vegetation management. And so I believe if it's found that, and also to be clear, there is a regulating body. It's called the IURC, the Indiana Utility Regulating Commission. That's who NIPSCO reports to, more or less. And so the IURC is the body that approves rate hikes. So when NIPSCO wants to rate hikes of their customers, the IURC is who they go to. Usually when they say they want rate hikes, they have to explain why they want to do that. And generally, they'll explain that they're doing it for system hardening purposes. Well, in the lawsuit, it states that, it alleges at least that NIPSCO may not have been fulfilling some of that duty. And if that's the case, we saw it play out here in Gary worse than any other area in the county. And so, I would say 100% of Gary's customers were out of power at the beginning. And even a week later, we still had more than 50% of the residents out. So since the beginning of it, Gary has taken the worst. And so, that's what we're looking into. And that's what elected officials are starting to ask questions about.
Good. Thank you.
Renita.
Well, thank you for your work. I love Capital B's reporting. You all always get right down to the point of the story. Here's my question. Gary, Indiana is not even that big of a city, yet they have 8 data centers. And we know that data centers do bring additional stress to the electric grid. My question is, has Gary ever faced a outage for this long in its history? And if not, do you think that the strain that the data centers have added to the electrical grid have anything to do with how long it's taken to get power back up and on?
Yeah, so, and that's something that I've been seeing on social media a lot. So I did want to take a second to clarify that. So we do not have any data centers in the city of Gary. There is an Amazon facility in a neighboring city next door in Hobart. But no, the city does not have data centers here. But what we, I've been investigating NIPSCO, well, not investigating, but I've been reporting on NIPSCO, all year. This won't be their first kind of tussle with the residents here. Residents were protesting NIPSCO all throughout the winter because the bills have been higher than usual. And a lot of that has been attributed to their continuous requests to have data centers built, although there has not been built yet. But even our state legislature attempted to pass a law this year that would allow, if an area has soil that was not deemed to be fit for farming, then companies would be allowed to put a data center on that ground without having any public comment or any public voice being involved in that transaction. So the way that NIPSCO is being viewed now, since they've already had tussles with the residents in the winter, they're starting to look at, what they want to do in terms of hardening the system as they continue to request to raise hikes.
Jolanda.
So, Gary is black. I think that's a rhetorical question. And you said that around Gary, like Gary is like the last city to get their electricity on. I think it's because they're black. But I heard that NIPSCO raised residential rates nearly 17%, telling the customers that it would help them strengthen the grid. And they started taking this money out of their bills in 2025. So my question is, where'd that money go? And then have you heard any indication? Because if NIPSCO is anything like Centerpoint here in Houston, after Hurricane Beryl came and we were out of electricity for a long time, I think it was like 2.6 million people. Not only did Centerpoint charge us even when we didn't have electricity, they then came to the legislature and asked us to allow them to pass on their costs of updating the grid that they charged us for and had been charging us for. And I'm proud to say, even though it passed, I voted against it. So one, what happened to the money when it comes to Gary that they started taking in 2025? And two, have you heard anything about NIPSCO trying to pass on the costs of their failures to its customers? And hold up, and to its residential customers, because they never go after the commercial customers.
Yeah. I mean, your point is about the state legislature is taken very well, because their request, or actually what was pitched in the State House in 2025 and even back to 2024 is, how they were able to raise those rates in the first place. And the way it works with the IURC, they'll kind of permanently approve, but they'll be able to operate under the rate hikes before it's been proven what they've done with the funding. And so right now I've been kind of putting on my investigative hat to look into where money was spent, but looking at the lawsuit, it alleges that none of the specific reasons they requested that hike, particularly around system hardening, grid strengthening, and vegetation management, the lawsuit alleges that didn't take place. And so, like I said, over the course of the next week, we'll look deeply into that. But as long as the majority in the state legislature here is what it is, which is a supermajority, they have 70-30 control in the House and 40-10 control in the Senate. So the way that legislature operates, they continue to be able to, NIPSCO would at least, continue to be operating in the way that they are.
All right. Renita, you asked your question?
Yes, I asked him about the data centers located near Gary, remember?
All right, no problem. Want to make sure everybody.
Not technically.
Yeah, just want to make sure.
In Gary.
No, I got it. Just want to make sure everyone's covered. Anybody have any additional questions about what's happening in Gary?
This is what I want to know. I hadn't been to Gary. I need to visit Gary. But Gary, I would imagine, is urban, so there's not a whole bunch of trees. And I would imagine the places around Gary, like the suburbs, probably have more vegetation if it's anything like Houston. So my question is, how are the places around Gary where they naturally have more vegetation, getting their electricity back before Gary, which is the city?
So it's a little different here. Gary is a city, but a lot of people actually come up from the South and compare it to cities in the South. We have a lot of flat land here. And as I stated, I spoke with an arborist. Our tree canopy coverage here is about 28%. The closest that a neighboring city had was 16%. And so we do have a lot of wooded areas. But I think that the issue is where those trees are in relation to the power lines. And I think that's still the responsibility of the utility company to manage the vegetation that's around the power lines. And some of the other communities, not all of them, but some of those communities do have underground wiring. We've had the leader of NiSource come out and state that it's too expensive to do that in Gary. But yeah, the The tree coverage is one thing, but I think preparation and preparedness on the account of NIPSCO is what can prevent some of the power outages that we've had. Just managing the trees that are around those power lines.
Really quickly, did I
All
just
right,
hear you
then.
say?
But we have.
Oh.
Come on, go ahead, real quick.
Did I just hear you say that they can afford to put power lines underground outside of Gary, but it's too expensive to put power lines underground in Gary? Did I hear you say that?
Yes, I heard that from both Melody while she was at the press conference, and the president of NiSource has released that as a statement as well. And even some of the researchers that I spoke to, it is a very expensive endeavor, but that's a choice that the utility companies have to make. Are you making decisions for profit margins or for customer safety?
But is it not expensive in the other places? Like, why
I can tell you right now. There are numerous cities. There are numerous cities where this has come up, and every time there's a storm, and it takes forever getting power back, they're like, oh, well, because they're not buried. Well, if you bury the power lines, you're not going to have down power lines. So how about you make the investment? And if they keep going to customers and keep going to the state for rate increases, how about you make that actual investment as well? But that's the stuff that we actually see, unfortunately, all the time. All right, tell folks how they can subscribe to the Worker Capital B.
Absolutely. Go to gary.capitalb.news.org. There you can find our work. We also have a fabulous national environmental reporter who breaks down the way that Black communities are typically the ones first to suffer in these type of situations. He breaks this down all across the country because here this is just a storm-related issue, but there are extreme heat-related issues and industrial fuel-related issues across the country. And so we're finding that the work he does in that area is very valuable now.
All right. Well, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Folks, 9 days after a Black man was found hanging from a tree in Raleigh, North Carolina, another Black man was found dead some 87 miles away in Roanoke Rapids. On Friday, 38-year-old Demetrius Fleming was found dead inside a home connected to a ligature. The Roanoke Rapids Police Department chief addressed the implications surrounding this investigation.
Is there any indication that leads you all to believe that anyone else was involved?
We're treating this as an equivocal death investigation, meaning that we're not working from any strict assumption. We have to, everything is on the table, and we're pursuing any and all leads.
While this police chief has made that clear, that it's not been the case in a number of other hangings that have taken place. Most of these have been ruled suicides. 21-year-old Kyle Basinga, who was reported missing in Cobb County, Georgia in February. He was later found hanging from a tree at Fair Oaks Park. Investigators said there was no indication of foul play. 16-year-old Juliana Umba Nazita was found hanging from a tree on church property in Charlotte, North Carolina on May 8th after being reported missing April 28th. 27-year-old Tania Miller, who was found hung near Gwen Cherry Park in Miami-Dade County, Florida on June 18th. And there's 21-year-old Justice Kai James, who was found hung outside the cafeteria at the Turner Jobs Corps Center in Albany, Georgia on June 21st. 28-year-old Gerard J. Jackson was found in Rothbury, Michigan on June 30th after attending the Electric Forest Music Festival. His body was discovered in a wooded area near the Hart Montague Trail close to his rented vehicle. Lastly, a 32-year-old Black man in Raleigh has not been publicly identified, was found hanging from a tree in downtown on August 15th. These investigations and rulings have drawn massive scrutiny. Even now, with Demetrius Fleming included, there are 3 active investigations. 29-year-old Tasia Fortune was found hanging from a tree behind a vacant home in Jackson, Mississippi on August 3rd. 36-year-old Cedric Longanga Tahui, who was found hanging from a tree in Harrisburg, North Carolina in June. And of course, a lot of people are speculating in terms of the cause of this. I've had people hit me up on email, on social media. Even when I was playing the golf tournament today, the Chris Tucker golf tournament here in Atlanta, was asked about these stories and these cases of these hangings. And so we will continue to cover these stories and let you know what happens with these investigations. One of the things that we do know, Randy, is especially among African American men, we're seeing, I mean, first of all, you take black men, but also black women. I mean, we are seeing a significant increase in black suicide. That was not always the case. Again, I'm not saying all of these cases were suicides, but the reality is we have seen this happen over and over and over again. And listen, we should be focused on and pressing folks to ensure there are fair investigations to make sure there's no foul play. We also need to be dealing with this reality of black suicide in our community.
Right, Roland. Both are critically important. One, we do need to ensure that each case is looked at individually. That, because what's been happening is immediately they are just declaring that someone has committed suicide. Let me just say, I've been researching this because it's quite upsetting that typically when we do commit suicide, we do not choose to hang ourselves, and we especially do not choose to hang ourselves publicly because of the historical relevance of that. But on the other hand, absolutely, we do need to deal with the mental health crises in our country right now with our people within our community. It's understandable if you think about the undue stress that it is just to exist on a daily basis in this country, particularly now that we have a leader that has unleashed just open racism. We are being attacked every which way. And so I can understand particularly how our young people may feel a level of hopelessness. Then we go back to the story that we started this show with. When we do seek help, particularly from the police, we end up dead or certainly not in any way better. So we have got to ensure that our Black mental health professionals are prepared to help all of us. Being Black in this country, I do believe in the fact that Black people need to work with Black therapists for the most part, because it is a unique situation to be Black in this country. And we need people to understand that that can help us. I mean, also, and don't get me wrong, I was raised in the church, but we need to be open and not say just pray on things. We need help. There is, God prepared us to be wise enough to seek help when we need it, and there are professionals that help people get through tough times, or medication if it's needed when our brains are unbalanced. So absolutely, you're right.
Got it. I need 30-second responses from Renita and Jelana so I can get to my next guest. Renita, go.
Yeah, I was just going to say, being Black means having to consistently fight for dignity and fairness. Black people do not hang themselves from trees. People who are committed to committing suicide, even if it is a mental health issue, typically do it in places where they will not be stopped, which is not at a public tree. So we have had to fight all year long to make sure that police will stop calling these suicides and not investigating these cases and taking these hangings seriously, because that's what they are, hangings.
Got it. Jonah.
Roland, my dad committed suicide. 2 of my uncles committed suicide. So trust me, I know Black people commit suicide, okay? But like it's been said before me, we don't hang ourselves. And yes, we do have issues, but I absolutely believe these to be murders. And Trump literally has given white folks carte blanche and permission to do the kind of things they did to us before the civil rights movement. In my book, Owning My S.H.I.T exclamation point, which is Suffering, Hardship, Internalizing Trauma, talks about how to get through these very difficult things that we as Black people have to live with. But no, it's not suicide. We don't do that. And the fact that people are not challenging this narrative is concerning to me. But in in America, Black people just are not safe. And they can come up with some crazy-ass stories just like that, and people will run with it.
All right, folks, let's talk about, we mentioned this story earlier. where Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison is suing the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, regarding an extradition request for an ICE agent who was accused of shooting a man inside of his home in Minneapolis. Governor Greg Abbott is refusing to follow through with the extradition, which would send the accused ICE agent Christian Castro back to Minnesota to face assault charges. Now, Castro was detained on May 18th, is being held in the Cameron County Jail. Texas law sets a 90-day limit on how long a fugitive may remain in jail while awaiting extradition. Now, here's the issue. Castro was involved in a shooting in Minnesota. What's crazy about this story, when you read this story, and it really is insane, folks, is that this is what took place. ICE agents scanned a license plate. They first of all, you got they chased the man. They shoot Julio Sosa Aciles through his front door. Okay. Now, I told y'all these federal law enforcement people keep lying about what happened. They claim the man attacked them with a broom and a snow shovel. But guess what? There was surveillance video from the city. It proved that to be a lie. The struggle lasted about 12 seconds. Then the Department of Homeland Security came back and admitted that the agents were, quote, untruthful, which means lying. The charges were dropped with prejudice. So what did they do? They charged him with 4 counts of assault and falsely reporting a crime. Then he flees to Texas. And Abbott's like, no, we're going to protect you. Joining us right now is Attorney General Keith Ellison. Glad to have you here. If the roles
Thanks
were
for
reversed,
having me, Roland.
Greg Abbott, glad to see you. If the roles were reversed, Greg Abbott, Dan Patrick, and Republicans will be losing their minds and saying, oh, look at this crazy leftist attorney general in Minnesota who is ignoring the sovereign rights of Texas by not extraditing someone. You know that's exactly what they will be yelling.
Yeah, well, the Constitution of the United States says that interstate extradition is supposed to be swift and summary process. The only issue for decision, Roland, is this the right Christian Castro? We ask you your full name, your date of birth. If it all matches, you got to come back and face charges in Minnesota. The bottom line is he's going to have all of his rights, right to counsel, right to be presumed innocent, right to a jury. But he cannot contest the merits of the case from Texas, and neither can the governor. This is outrageous. It's illegal. We'll be in court tomorrow proving it.
I mean, what's unbelievable here, DHS, yeah, okay, they lied. Yeah, that didn't happen. When your own department admits you lied and it didn't happen, yeah, you got a problem. And that's what's so crazy. Greg Abbott is ignoring what DHS has said.
Well, because at the end of the day, they're kind of okay with what Christian Castro did. I mean, that's the only assumption I can make, that this law and order governor is ready to ignore law and order when it suits his own political beliefs. But this is not about politics. This is about justice. And he must sign the extradition warrant or the court will order him to do so. This, again, is not a controversial thing. It's in the Constitution. It's in the codes of the United States. He must do it. But it kind of reminds me of something that back in the 60s when some of these, segregationist governors, they knew what the law was, but they made the president, arrest them or move them out of the way. But they went down with swinging with their issue of interposition. The bottom line is this is just open, flagrant denial of law. I hope people see this. But again, we've had other problems. I mean, we're still in the midst of investigating the case involving Alex Preddy and Renee Good, who were shot and killed in Minnesota. We're still trying to obtain the full file and gain cooperation with the federal government in pursuit of our investigation. We're looking for simple, cooperation and so we can complete our investigation. And we're looking for the kind of cooperation that states enjoy every day. You know, Roland, your viewers might be interested in knowing that Minnesota has extradited people back to Texas all year, and Texas has extradited people back to Minnesota. In fact, they've done it 3 times since Christian Castro has been arrested and held in the Cameron County Jail. But now they don't want to do this. This is clearly political. This is 100% about him trying to advance the largest deportation in American history. And I'll just remind your viewers too, that look, the largest deployment of ICE agents in the history of America in one time and in one place took place in Minneapolis between December 3rd and February 12th. They called it Operation Metro Surge. They killed 2 people. They shot Julio Sosa Solis, and they engaged in massive racial profiling. They caused recession in Minnesota because workers couldn't go to work, customers couldn't go to buy and shop, and students weren't not reporting to school. They had a real reign of terror in our state for the better half for more than a month, and this is the justice. People who committed crimes must now answer for them, and that is what's going on. And it's going to go down in a courtroom in Texas tomorrow. My staff's already there, ready to make the proper legal arguments, and we're confident that justice will prevail.
See, this is why it is a joke listening to any of these people declare that they are law and order. And then when they have the audacity to criticize Democrats or progressives or leftists or liberals, saying they don't support law enforcement, when these people have no problem when 2 things happen. First, when law enforcement commits a heinous act and then they defend them, or in the case of January 6th, where they attack law enforcement, but because the greater good for them was Donald Trump leading a coup, then it's, okay, the hell with those law enforcement officers.
Well, it is not consistent at all. In fact, I think it's fair to call it hypocritical. The officers who arrested Christian Castro, the Texas Rangers, I want to thank them. I also want to commend the sheriff in Cameron County, Texas, who is doing his job. He's holding Castro in custody, awaiting the signing of the extradition warrant. So I will say, I'll be one to say that I thank those law enforcement officers who are doing their job. It's just the executive in Texas who's not doing it for political reasons. And that's really unfortunate. This didn't have to be some big political stunt, but, you know, Governor Abbott has turned it into that because he's trying to make a political point, which is that if you, on behalf of Donald Trump and Abbott, kill people and shoot them pursuing this immigration agenda where they're essentially terrorizing people inhumanely, then it's okay. But if a law enforcement officer actually tries to enforce the law in a fair and unbiased way, they don't have any support from Mr. Abbott, which is really unfortunate. And of course, as you pointed out on January 6th, you know, there were about, I think there was many as several dozens of officers who were injured. Some of them ended up losing their lives, and they have no love coming from the people who hold with Abbott and Trump. I wish we could return just a regular equal justice under the law. People like Abbott should sign the extradition warrant. This could be over and we could all move ahead. Yet he's trying to turn this into a cause célèbre. When the 90-day clock was ticking, I had no choice. We wrote him several letters asking him to do his job under the Constitution. He has not done so, so he forced us to sue him. And that's why we're in the posture we're in right now.
Well, and your point, it didn't have to come to this, and for you to sit here and say, yeah, we've extradited people. All this is Greg Abbott, who's running for re-election. He's in a very tight race with Gina Hinojosa. He is trying to score political points. It's very clear. Not only that, this is somebody who very rarely does national interviews. He was on with ABC's Jonathan Karl. So what this is about trying to stoke his base. That's what this is. Yeah. Listen, I'm still registered to vote in Texas. This is Greg Abbott trying to be in the headlines and trying to see you and see, that's right, I'm standing with Trump. We're going to protect our officers. But here's the problem. He looks like a damn idiot when you have officers who lied. When the Department of Homeland Security admits that they were untruthful, well, my daddy and mama would say, son, your ass lying. That's what they would actually call it. They lied about it. The city's video proves that they actually lied about it, and then they get charged. And so let's just call it what it is. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is harboring a fugitive.
Yeah, I think that's how it feels. And I tell you this, I'm glad you brought the facts out, Roland, because Mr. Sosa Solis is chased into his home. The door then is closed. Castro shoots through the door, wounds him, and the house is filled with children. And the bullet goes through and hits into a back wall of the house. Then Castro lies to the FBI and says, I was attacked. And then Sosa Solis, the victim, is charged with assaulting the ICE agent. Then the CCTV video comes out. They have to dismiss charges, and they have to dismiss them with prejudice, as you know, means they can never bring them back. They can never bring them back. So even the Department of Homeland Security has admitted that Castro is a liar. From my standpoint, he's an alleged liar. But from the standpoint of the federal government, which dismissed the charges based on the inconsistency, that's a lie. So how then are you standing in the way of justice to prevent this person from accountability? It is shocking. It's not justice. But we've seen so many political, unjust, unfair prosecutions and failures to prosecute people who have committed crimes, including pardoning all the J6 people. I think they're in the thousands who were pardoned, including people who beat law enforcement officers. So this is an outrageous situation. Quite honestly, while I enjoyed talking to you, I was perfectly happy just to extradite Castro back to my state and participate in the investigation and prosecution of his case, presuming that he's innocent all the time, as we must do under the Constitution. I didn't need to come on to talk about this, but he forced me to because he refused to follow the Constitution and the laws of the United States. And I find that to be very sad and a miscarriage of justice.
Well, these MAGA Republicans are quite judicious when it comes to when they decide to follow the law. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, always glad to have you. Thanks a lot.
Always, brother. Take care now.
Jelanda, I want to go to you. You're a Texas State rep. Greg Abbott is a true embarrassment. This is all election BS, Jelanda. He knows he's in a tight race. He's trying to play to the cheap seats when it comes to his base. But frankly, what Democrats should be doing is saying, again, as I said it, Texas Governor Greg Abbott is harboring a fugitive. He is harboring a liar. He is harboring a federal agent who his own bosses said lied.
I agree with you with everything you said, Roland, but Greg Abbott is trying to be in the media. He believes no media is bad media, except for I'm not so certain that even though the law is clear that the governor should sign the extradition warrant, that he's going to do it. This judge, Judge Fernando Rodriguez Jr., was appointed by Trump. Remember, this is Texas, and it's in Brownsville, Texas. And also, I'll say Ted Cruz voted for this guy. John Cornyn voted for this guy. So I don't think it's a done deal with the federal court following the law, because since Trump has changed the Supreme Court and has appointed all these people to the bench, what used to be the law is no longer the law, and stare decisis, which is precedent is what it is, no longer exists. But of course, Roland, he's doing that because polls show that Gina Hinojosa is polling better than Abbott. But I also think that this stunt, this tactic by Abbott, does a couple of things. One, the ICE agent is Hispanic. There are a lot of people in South Texas who love what Trump is doing. Believe that or not, that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But also the people that they lied on are Hispanic. So he has something for every kind of person who wants him to deport or not deport. So I think for Abbott and his political agenda about whether people will support him or blame him, I think that for him, he has to do it because it's helpful to him. But I'm not convinced that the judge will order the right result. I'm just not convinced of it. I mean, I do live in Texas. It is in Brownsville, and those South Texas Hispanics vote against their interests all the time.
Hey, I get it. I get it. But you know what, Renita? I'm telling you right now, if I'm Gina Hinojosa, if I'm Texas Democrats, if I'm Tallarico, and if this judge rules against AG Keith Ellison, I'm telling you right now, I'm sitting here saying, hey, Mr. Law and Order, you are harboring a fugitive. And I'm using the Department of Homeland Security against Greg Abbott by saying the man's own bosses said he lied about what took place. The video contradicts it. You're harboring a fugitive. You don't care about law and order. You're trying to score cheap political points. That's what I would do. I would hammer Abbott's ass over this.
Absolutely. But you know what? I'm not even surprised because we have always seen in this country that white, powerful men have always believed that they are above the law. It's rules for thee, but not for me. And Greg Abbott is no exception. You also have to look at how much democracy breaking we've seen under the Trump administration. Deciding not to follow the Constitution, as Keith Ellison mentioned, that this is literally a part of the Constitution, and Greg Abbott just deciding, oh, well, you know, I just really don't have to follow the Constitution, is another point of breaking democracy. We have seen more and more and more of the breaking of democracy under the Trump administration. And what that leads to is everybody deciding to do their own thing. I mean, we only have a republic and we only have a country that decides to follow the way that our laws are set up so that things are done in an orderly fashion so that we are not making our decisions by everybody going rogue and just deciding to do whatever you want to do. And so when you venture out of that system, which is what Greg Abbott is doing, don't be surprised when you start to see others do the same.
Randy?
We keep having this conversation about what is lawful, what is right. But these people don't follow the law. They follow Trump and his cronies. And so they're going to do what he wants them to do. And the unfortunate part is that they have so stacked the system where they have these cronies everywhere at every stop. They don't get punished for ignoring the law. And so that is what's terrifying. I agree with the two panelists tonight that we have no guarantees about what is going to happen because right doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't stand anymore because these people are supporting one another, just as white, powerful men have always done in the past.
Well, we do have examples, though, where Trump judges have actually ruled against Republicans, and so we'll certainly see what happens in this case. Folks, let's talk about Phoenix and go to Phoenix, Arizona. My God, where two police officers have been fired and arrested for allegedly assaulting a couple during an unreported traffic stop. On Saturday, y'all, former officers 31-year-old Antonio Felix and Luis Vasquez Jr. were arrested and fired following interviews with detectives. The charges they face: kidnapping, aggravated assault, aggravated robbery, threatening and intimidating, criminal damage, hindering prosecution, tampering with evidence, felony assault involving a bound or otherwise physically restrained individual. Damn, that's a whole lot. Okay, this took place August 5th around 11:30 p.m. in South Phoenix. Police said the two cops physically assaulted a man and a woman during the stop and used tasers on them. The officers also allegedly failed to report the stop or activate their body cameras. Phoenix Police Chief Matt Giordano said investigators uncovered significantly more evidence of what he called egregious criminal conduct. Both officers were given $100,000 secured appearance bonds and must wear electronic monitors if they are released. Damn! I'm like, what the hell were they doing, Renita?
Listen, I wish I could say I was surprised, but I'm not, because we have consistently talked about police misconduct on this show so many times. And the only thing that's new is that now we've got social media, so stories like this can spread, and so people can understand what has been the full corruption of law enforcement since the inception of law enforcement in this country. I mean, this is what it is. And that's why when people were saying years ago, oh, it's just a couple bad apples. No, it's not. This is a system that operates without accountability. And what we do know is systems without accountability built into them are systems that turn into nothing but corruption. And that is what our law enforcement system is in this country.
All right, folks. The former deputy sheriff who killed Sonia Massey in Illinois, he's dead. Sean Grayson, who shot and killed Massey in her home in July 2024 after she called 911, died in prison. He was diagnosed with colon cancer. He tried to get released because of medical hardship, but he was denied that. And again, his attorneys sought it. He got hit with a 20-year sentence for second-degree murder while battling advanced colon cancer. Jolanda, may Sean Grayson rest in hell.
Hey, man, you know what? I can't say nothing else like better than that. He was exactly where he was supposed to be. Sonia Massey doesn't get to be sick or be out with her family, so he needed to die in prison. I don't feel bad about it. I won't lose any sleep about it. And damned in hell, just like you said.
Look, that's how I see this, Randy. I'm glad he was denied. I'm sorry, you got hit with 20 years in prison. There are other people who actually die in prison, and he should not have been released. I'm glad they denied that. And so there's no reason. Sonia Massey should be with us. This was a thug deputy sheriff. He had no business shooting and killing her. And so, yes, he can go to hell. And that's where I think he's residing right now.
Oh, he's absolutely in hell. And all I hope for is that it was painful on his way there. I hope he was not given any medication to make his transition any more pleasant than he deserved for it to be. My prayers still remain with the Massey family, her 2 children, and that's where my focus is. But that thing, that murderer, give no 2 damns about him.
All right, folks. How shall I put this? There's nothing more embarrassing than to be a MAGA ass kisser and you're black. I don't know how South Carolina Republican Senator Tim Scott looks himself in the mirror after he goes on national television to expose his sheer stupidity. I don't understand how this man can say some of the dumb shit that he says and defend some of the dumb positions. First of all, I ain't even playing the clip, y'all, from this weekend where he was just puckering up to Trump and praising him like he's his daddy. But he's on Meet the Press, and they're talking about the Senate race in Texas between Texas State Representative James Tallarico and the absolutely undeniably corrupt Attorney General Ken Paxton. Listen to this exchange between Kristen Welker and Senator Mushmouth.
James Tallarico, as you just said, facing off against Ken Paxton. Paxton has faced allegations of bribery, fraud, abuse of power. He was impeached by his own party. You endorsed Senator John Cornyn in the primary against Paxton. So why do you now believe Ken Paxton has the character to serve in the U.S. Senate?
Well, I can tell you this. What we know with great clarity is that James Tallarico does not have the character to serve in the United States Senate, nor does he have the right position on the issues that Texans care most about. I'll say it very clearly, and I'll say it again. James Tallarico is out of step, completely out of step with Texans.
But does Paxton have the character to serve? He was impeached by his own party.
Raise the taxes. Kristen, at the end of the day, the contrast is clear and simple. James Tallarico will not be the senator for Texas, and there are a host of reasons, from his position on the faith to his position on taxes to his position on boys playing against girls in sports. What we know with great certainty is that we will keep Texas red to the roots.
First of all, Tim Scott, you don't know shit about Texas. Let's just go ahead and start there. I suggest you just stick with your broke-ass state. Okay, so let's just stick with that. 2, Jolanda, Tim Scott actually let character come out of his mouth. He is defending an absolutely incompetent, corrupt individual. Again, Kristen Welker said it. His own party impeached his ass. And the only reason he didn't get convicted because his big donors paid off Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick and other senators. That's why he wasn't thrown out of office. This man's own staff revolted against him. So this ain't like Democrats going after Ken Paxton. His own Republican Party, they know he is corrupt. So Tim Scott should never get into a character debate between Ken Paxton and James Tallarico.
So let me be clear. I voted to impeach Ken Paxton, okay? So it wasn't just Republicans because they needed Democratic votes. I'm not getting into all that, but I didn't hear Scott talk at all about any specifics. He gave like Republican talking points. He brought up things that are irrelevant to character. So you shouldn't listen to that. But those same Republicans that voted to impeach Ken Paxton are now introducing Ken Paxton at campaign events in their districts. So they have no spine. They say whatever Trump wants, and Trump has picked him. So if Paxton supporters, if the state reps supporters who voted to impeach Paxton are now listening to their state reps, the Republican ones, they're going to vote for him. That's what's crazy about the sycophants who follow Trump and the people that he picked. They don't care if their position yesterday was different. And I'm going to say this again. Republicans who voted to impeach Paxton are now having rallies telling their supporters to support Paxton. So, again, Tim Scott ain't talking about nothing because he stayed away from facts because facts don't help his argument. But I'm terrified that Republicans could care less that he has no character, that he's a criminal, he in London with his mistress, he cheated on his wife, and all kind of things, but they don't care, Roland. They just don't care.
Right. And this is why early in the show, Renita, I was talking about, and I saw this interview that Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett did where she was talking about how black voters in Texas are not energetic and excited about Tallarico's race. And I'm real clear here. And I was having this conversation with several people over the weekend. And it's just exactly what Jolanda just said. Republicans, they know Paxton ain't shit. They know he a fake-ass Christian. They know he ain't real. They know he's a fraud. They know he's corrupt. They know he has no morals, no values, no principles, no ethics, no integrity, no honor. They know all of that. But you know what they gonna do? They ain't gonna sit on the couch. They're gonna go press that button. They're gonna go sit here and bubble his name in. And I am saying this because, again, what white Texans do, what Latino Texans do, I don't know what they're going to do. But this is what I'm saying to black people. Okay? I don't need your ass to be excited about Tallarico. I don't need him to tickle your fancy and ignite your soul. I don't need him to move you to do the holy dance. What I do want black Texans to know, that Ken Paxton ain't gonna do shit for you. Ken Paxton is going to vote for an agenda that is absolutely against black Texans. He is going to vote against funding for Texas HBCUs. Ken Paxton is going to vote against health care for black Texans. Ken Paxton ain't gonna do a damn thing. Ken Paxton has targeted black people in Texas. He's targeted Harris County voters. He's used, Harris County had created a program to help folk financially, and then he sicked the law on them and said that was unconstitutional and illegal. So I need black people to get out of this bullshit that, oh, I need to be excited. Let me tell you something. These people, their intentions are evil. Their intentions are to do harm to black Texans and to do black Americans. And in fact, y'all put to the control room, I'm gonna drop a couple of videos in the group me. I want y'all to pull it out. I saw these two videos on social media of black folks leaving the Chris Brown Usher concert in Chicago. When y'all play the video, that's how I need y'all asses lined up for early voting. That's how I need your asses lined up on election day. See, I'm real clear on what Ken Paxton is going to do. If he's so corrupt, he not ain't going to raise his right hand. He going to raise his left hand. I'm telling y'all. See, y'all, black people, this is not a drill. What these people want to do, they want to do harm to black people, Renita. And we better sit here and, goddamn it, be in formation.
Listen, Tallarico better run a campaign that can get black folks excited, because I'm going to tell you this. Ken Paxton, when you're talking about, oh, well, his character this, his character that, the Republicans are excited to vote for him. Why? Because they don't vote on character. He is giving them what they want, which is they want somebody who is going to advance white supremacy. Ken Paxton is committed to that. And they want somebody who's going to do it at all costs. So he is giving Republicans what they want. We make the mistake of thinking, oh, well, Republicans are going to vote on character. No, they're not. Look at how Donald Trump got elected. He's talking about grabbing women's vaginas, and they voted for him. That is not what, they don't vote based on character. They vote based on, are you going to advance white supremacy? Because that is their value that they care about. And they don't care what type of character you have as a candidate. If you're going to do that, they're going to vote for you. The other thing is, I would mention, is I think it's very interesting that they are giving Tim Scott the crap work as the token in the party, because this was a good interview that you showed, but I saw another interview with him and Kristen Welker. I think it was in the same interview where she asked him a question about the economy. And you know what he said? He said that the issues with the economy right now are still Biden's fault. And she said, well, we're 2 years into the Trump administration. What are you talking about? And he said, I don't care. It's Biden's fault. So they sent this man out here with all types of crazy talking points that don't even make sense. And it is the crap work. But hey, Tim Scott still has not learned that tokens get spent.
Here's the thing for me, Randy, and I want to be very clear to anybody listening. I am not absolving the Tallarico campaign of investment. I'm telling you right now, the Tallarico campaign should be sitting here and asking for the endorsement of every member of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus, and they should be saying we're going to commit a six-figure sum in each one of your districts to turn out your voters. It should be a significant investment in Black East Texas, in Tarrant County, in Dallas County, in Harris County, in the Panhandle, wherever black voters are. But this is what I have consistently said, and we've had Cliff Latasha with Black Voters Matter as well. I am not waiting on a party or a candidate to excite me when I see evil that's coming at me, when I see harm that's coming my way. Now, again, let me be clear. Parties and candidates absolutely must make investment. They must be speaking to the issues. They must be holding town halls. They must be engaging the voters. But what I am arguing is that black people have black interests that are not party interests. And what I am saying is I have two choices in Texas for United States Senate. I have corrupt Ken Paxton and I have Representative James Tallarico. I don't care if he beat Crockett. I don't care if you love Crockett. She didn't win. He won. And these are my two choices. And what I know is I got evil over here. And what I'm not interested is handing evil a 6-year term to follow through harm on me. So if I got a choice between evil as Paxton and Tallarico, this ain't even a conversation, because if Tallarico loses, I know who he voting with. I know he gonna do whatever Trump says. And my point is this here, I need our people teaching our people. I need black people and black organizations and black churches having citizenship education programs where they are explaining to black people, here is Paxton's record, here's Tallarico's record. Here's what who is Paxton's going to align with and who Tallarico going to align with. And this is how I look at it. I done said this, Randy. I ain't never identified as a Democrat. I ain't never identified as a Republican. I ain't never identified as an independent. I voted as a black man based upon looking at the issues and the interest. Period.
Same. I have always voted as a black woman, and I've always paid attention to who is looking out for our interests. And this is if anyone's paying attention, if you haven't been paying attention, I don't know where you are, but there is a whole movement to destroy us. They are attacking us at every single level. And Paxton is a part of that crew that wants to ruin us. And so all the other stuff, not that we're trying to absolve the Democrats for what they are not doing, but right now we are fighting for our lives, literally. So we cannot allow Paxton to be in for us. We cannot allow it to happen. We have to do everything to block it. That should excite us enough. I don't even care at this point what somebody else is saying. That should excite us enough that we have to stop this whole tidal wave of these men that are trying to ruin us. And that is what Paxton is trying to do. So I don't understand how people aren't. I'm scared. I mean, I'm scared from what I'm seeing day to day. That's enough to excite me because we are fighting for our lives. That should be enough for everybody. I don't really give a damn what anybody says at this point, because forget what people say. I've watched what these criminals have done to our people. So absolutely, people need to show up at the polls. And yes, of course, we all wanted Crockett to come through, but she didn't. So we have to do what we have to do right now with what we have.
Y'all, these are the videos. I saw these on Instagram. They were talking about all these black folks this was out of Chicago, leaving the Chris Brown Usher concert. And I'm telling you straight up, this is exactly what the polls should look like when it comes to voting. Come on, y'all, roll the video. What we doing?
So I'm on the bus. And
damn it, roll the video. Thank you. We taking too long. That's the way. That's what I want to look like. This is what I want to look like in Georgia, North Carolina, Ohio, Texas, Florida, wherever black folks are. This is exactly what I want it looking like. 1835, 1844, I want to see y'all looking like this here, okay? Because I'm telling y'all, we were the first black platform to explain to y'all in 2021 what these evil folks had planned with Project 2025. And too many of us said, I don't really think it's going to be that real. I don't think it's going to be that serious. And then it was like, damn, They real. They actually doing this. Well, hell, they told your ass they were going to do it. Like, this ain't like it was you were caught by surprise. They told you. And I'm telling you, what should be happening in November, and don't even wait for November 3rd. We should be flooding the early voting polls. I'm telling y'all right now, we should be seeing the largest black voter turnout since the 1965 Voting Rights Act was passed. That's what needs to happen. Versus y'all sharing these videos of Negroes fighting on Carnival cruises, what you should be fighting over is trying to grab voter registration forms. That's what should be happening. Because I'm telling you, listen, so now, the Supreme Court, the ruling came down. The Supreme Court, what they did was, the Supreme Court actually stayed a lower court ruling when it came to allowing the USPS, the Postal Service, to enact Trump's executive order. Okay, everybody pump their brakes. The court has not ruled. They claim the states filed too early. That makes no sense to me at all. 63 long conservative lines. So the court has not fully ruled. But we must be prepared for these thugs trying to steal the election. And that's what I'm saying, Renita, what I'm saying to people right now. Our lawyers are fighting this thing in the courtroom. What I need our folk to do is to prepare for the war. That means don't even assume your ass is right. Fill out a new voter registration form and turn that sucker in. If they got photo ID or whatever, get the damn ID. I don't want to hear the provisional ballots. No, I need us ready to go to battle. And I need us ensuring our folks are ready. And so don't be waiting. Don't be, oh man, I thought, no, forget all of that. Because what they want, Renita, they desperately want us to be unprepared to vote, because Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans, they are doing all they can to steal and rig this election because they know they're going to lose.
Issue, and I'm glad you brought up the absentee balloting process, because Trump has been attacking that ever since 2020, when he lost in 2020 during COVID, where lots of black and brown voters,
even though he votes by mail.
Right. Well, and it's worse than that. And so, listen, when the Trump lawyers came before my committee in Georgia, I was on the Governmental Affairs Committee, which dealt with election law. Rudy Giuliani and the other Trump lawyers came before our committee after he lost the election, and they were trying to get us to overturn the election results so that Trump could win. The first question that I asked them was, why are you attacking absentee voting? Why are you attacking that? In Georgia, when it was mostly older white people using absentee voting, they expanded absentee voting. So, and I don't think that Georgia is an anomaly in that. I'm sure other states across the country, when it was majority white, older people using that process, they would expand that process. And so the moment that we showed up in full force in 2020 and used the process, mostly because of COVID and because we were taking COVID seriously, that's when they began to say, oh, well, absentee voting is full of fraud. That's where all the fraud lives. And, this process needs to be restricted. And so they have been on a mission ever since. But it's like you said, if people don't hear anything else, they should get this takeaway. Do not wait until Election Day to vote. I understand that culturally there's a lot built up around, the excitement of Election Day. But I'm going to tell you this, as somebody who dealt with election law for 6 years and had to fight voter suppression in Georgia, where a lot of the bad stuff originated and then traveled across the country in the way of voter suppression laws. You can't participate in that waiting until Election Day stuff. You have got to early vote. You must, because early voting gives you an opportunity to see if they're going to deny your right to vote, like if they're going to tell you there's something wrong with your registration. It also gives you time to cure your ballot in case anything goes wrong. So do not wait until Election Day. And for every election, change your culture on wanting to vote on the Election Day. Don't do that. You must early vote. That's the biggest shift that I think that we need to make as Black folks.
Randy?
I agree. I mean, we have to be clear that they're doing everything in their power to block us from voting. They're trying to steal the election. And so this is why they keep going to court and bringing up these false charges about the veracity of mail-in voting and other things. And so, yes, we have to act as if people are working against us and trying to take our vote, because that's exactly what is happening.
Yolanda?
So, Roland, I agree with everything that you said, but here's what I know is a reality here. A lot of people can't afford ID. In Texas, we're forcing everybody to come back and get new IDs. I mean, a lot of times you're going to renew your driver's license or your ID. They're making it difficult. They just are. And so there are going to have to be things done, like you say, Roland, educating people, and organizations, like you said, are going to have to help people. Some people do not have the money to afford IDs. But at the end of the day, Roland, you're talking about what we should be doing, and I agree with everything that you're saying, because it is dangerous and it can get worse, even though I believe some people believe it can't get any worse than it is now. But the truth is, you've got to spend money to get voters out. And I learned that when I ran for this office that I'm in right now. There were people who loved me. We knew they loved me. We had spent money to ID people who loved me. And on election day, a lot of those people had not come out to vote. And my team came to me and said, Yolanda, I need you to sign this check for $48,000 so we can drive out the voters we know support you and love you. And at 8 o'clock in the morning, they hadn't voted for me. But once I signed that check, they did come out to vote for me. People did not vote for me because they didn't love me. They didn't want to vote for me. There were issues that had to be addressed to actually get them to the polls. So someone can love the hell out of you,
I agree,
want to vote for you, intend to vote for you. But in addition to, we need to just do it just because. Some people have hard facts of life that make it very difficult for them to get to the polls, and we've got to pay for those strategies to get them there.
Yes, and that's also why what I have been saying is, when I look at churches and community groups, I'm sitting here going, if we damn near create Uber, do the Montgomery bus boycott, we can create our own damn Uber for when it comes to early voting and the polls. I'm looking at resources. I'm looking at, okay, who has vans? Who has transportation? I'm sitting here, and what I'm saying to black groups, what I'm saying to black organizations, okay, everybody said, oh, we doing GOTV. No, a bunch of y'all doing some bullshit, okay? What I'm talking about is, okay, can we identify? I'm being straight up. I've called out D9 for the longest because all I hear is, oh, we doing GOTV, we doing GOTV, and I go, okay, how many actually people are y'all touching? How many doors actually got knocked on? How many actual people have you registered? How many people did you actually take to the polls? See, I'm all about data. I'm not interested in this anecdotal stuff. My whole deal is, how many people are you touching and how many are you reaching? That's what I look at. And what I am saying, campaigns, the party and the candidate absolutely must be put in. But when you say, you know what, IDs cost, absolutely. You know what they did? The Florida Rights Restoration Group, Desmond Meads, when the Republicans there screwed the voters, where they voted, where they said restore the voting rights of formerly incarcerated, they were like, oh no, y'all got to complete y'all stuff before you get your voting rights back. So they had fines to pay. So you know what Desmond Meads group started doing? They started raising money, pay fines. Okay, how much you owe? Okay, owe $300. Boom. So my whole deal is, let's identify people who need voter ID. Okay, you need an ID? How much ID costs? All right, so we're going to sit here and say, we're going to go raise 10, 20, 30, 50,000, whatever the hell, amongst our group to say, we're going to get X number of people their ID. What I'm saying to these preachers and the community leaders and all these people who love standing up at news conferences talking, I need to see action behind your words. And what I'm saying is, I'm not waiting for somebody else to do it. the moment we're in, look, my new book, I talk about it, called Black Forward. This is a moment where black people are going to have to care for black people and invest in black people if we want to protect black people. I can't wait for a candidate or a party. So we got to put pressure on him and them. We also got to be doing some stuff ourselves. Before we go, over the weekend, y'all, we lost a couple of artists. Michael Wright, many of us might remember him from the 5 Heartbeats, as well as Sugar Hill. His wife posted on Instagram that he had passed away. He was an extraordinary actor, a brilliant actor, and was 70 years old and passed. Again, so many of us remember him from that cult classic, The 5 Heartbeats. Robert Townsend and Leon and others posted messages. Robert Townsend said he was in tears when he found out that Michael Wright had passed away at the age of 70 years old. He had faced a series of health challenges. He dealt with substance abuse in the past, including a DWI arrest. But he appeared in a number of different productions, The Wanderers, V, The Principal, and Streamers. But he will forever be known as Eddie King Jr., or as many black people. This is what's so funny, Randy. Black people say, "Oh, Eddie Kane, Eddie Kane." No, it was actually Eddie King Jr. But black people, no, that's Eddie Kane. They didn't even say Kang. No, the role was Eddie King Jr.
Right. No, I actually saw a video about that this weekend when I heard about his passing, and they were saying how, yeah, it's Eddie Kane to us, and that's always going to be Eddie Kane forever.
Yeah, and again, a truly extraordinary thespian and someone who had significant amounts of talent. We also lost Benjamin Lattimore, R&B singer. He went by the moniker Lattimore. That's what he went by. Of course, had his 1974 hit. It's Let's Straighten It Out. He began his career in 1965, scored his first hit in 1973. With a remake of T-Bone Walker's Stormy Monday. It peaked at number 27 on the R&B chart. He followed that with If You Were My Woman, and reached, and then of course, but it was Let's Straighten It Out that hit the top 100. His career spanned more than 5 decades. It produced 13 singles that charted. The last of those came in 1986 with Sunshine Lady. He released 27 albums and was inducted into the Blues Hall of Fame in 2017. Renita, my Lattimore song is Bad Risk. I love that song. Lattimore was 86 years old. Renita, I know you play some Lattimore, so let's not even sit here and trip.
You know, I do love blues music. We've talked about that before on here. We've talked about that here on the show before. So my condolences go out to his family, and I'm just glad to see that he was partially given some of his flowers being inducted into the Hall of Fame, because so many of these blues singers have made music that will live forever, and a lot of times they aren't given any flowers whatsoever. And so I'm glad to see. Thank you, Roland, also for covering that he passed away, because also, and maybe I just missed it, but I didn't see other outlets covering his death. So he's one who will be missed, and thank you for covering it.
Jolanda, yeah, we know you down there in Houston. You've been listening to some Southern Soul and Blues too, so you know a little something about Lattimore. Don't act like you're too young to know.
So first of all, I ain't never said that. In fact, I only listened to 70s and 80s R&B and some stuff in the 60s. So let me be clear. Of course, I listened to him through my mother. I'm glad she introduced me to his music. And I will also say this. The songs they sing now don't compare at all to what they sang in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Because back then they could sing. And now they auto-tune. And I'll just leave it at that. My condolences go out to his family. But isn't it such a great thing that he has something that he's left behind that everybody can see? And the truth is, he lived a long life. He was 86 years old. So be thankful for the memories, because I certainly am.
Absolutely. Listen, so I got Joe Simon's The Choking Kind and Bad Risk by Lattimore back-to-back on one of my playlists. And when Joe Simon passed away last year, we paid tribute and his widow was just so appreciative. She told someone else to please give her a call. And then my wife was a link, saw her at their conference in Detroit. The daughter said, oh my God, if he could just call my mama. And listen, I say this all the time, and it's real. One of the reasons why we do this show, and we did this with my TV One shows, News One Now and Washington Watch. We did this with the Tom Jonah Morning Show, is that there are so many people in Black America that white folks ain't got no idea about, but a lot of us also forget. And so when we have our platforms, when you start thinking about our newspapers, they covered folks who passed away in our community. There's a brother. Matter of fact, we're gonna do something on him this week as well, with the in memoriam, who was a doctor, who was also a civil rights activist. There's so many amazing African Americans who do work that they do not get any love whatsoever. Matter of fact, this week we're going to be live from Howard University for a couple of days because the fine arts, the School of Fine Arts there, named after Chadwick Boseman, is having a couple of events. Anthony Anderson is involved in one of those, and we're going to be streaming those events. Again, it's been 6 years since Chadwick Boseman passed away, and I remember. Now, granted, his death was covered largely because he was young in Black Panther. But I'm telling you right now, mainstream media did not do a lot when Cicely Tyson and Sidney Poitier passed away. And so so this is one of the reasons why Black-owned media is so important. Also, tomorrow we'll be picking up the feed from Howard University. The king of the Ashanti Kingdom in Ghana is actually giving a lecture at Howard University tomorrow. We're going to have that on the show as well. I'm also shooting. We're going to have in studio the band Maze, of course. They now, formerly, the former members, they now have been granted the license to actually perform the music all around the world. So we'll be talking to them in the show tomorrow. So again, this is why Black-owned media matters. And you know what? There are other shows that Black people host, but they don't actually cover Black stuff, and that's fine. I don't care what other people do. People can do what they do. But we do it here. We center Black people. We make Black people the central focus, and that's why we do what we do. We're going to keep doing that. That's important to me because we need a place where our story is always told, and that's why we always want to show love and appreciation to folks like Michael Wright and Benjamin Lattimore, both who passed away this weekend. That is it for us. Let me thank Jolanda. I saw that video on Instagram of you and your comments being taken out of context. Then I saw some other video where you were just sitting here dancing, acting all wild. So if y'all want to see a really interesting Instagram account, just go ahead and follow Jolanda. She get crazy. I'm shocked Randy is even at the house. Randy is always on some beach somewhere. I'm surprised she don't look crispy because she's always on the beach somewhere, gone forever. Yeah, Randy ain't never. Randy had the audacity to tell me I ain't never at home. You need to stop. Okay, at least when I'm here, I'm actually in the States. You always somewhere else. Renita, glad to see you as well. I'm here in Atlanta. Again, I was here. Chris Tucker had his golf tournament. Yeah, let me go ahead and play that. So we've got a couple of videos, y'all. I caught up with Chris. We had a quick interview talking about his golf tournament and what his foundation does. Y'all, we out here, of course, again, my third time playing the Chris Tucker golf tournament.
My main man, Roland.
Glad to be here. Did you play today? Did you hit?
My favorite part is going around seeing all the people that came down here to dedicate their time, like you and so many others, man, to say hello. And that just brings me so much joy, man. And I appreciate you coming.
And
down.
you had some great folks out. I mean, Dr. J, Kevin Willis, Kenny Lattimore, Jeffrey Osborne. Brian Jordan.
Man. We got a lot of people.
You had Lil Tigger.
We had a comedy show, or we had Mike.
Yeah, I missed it. I had a speech on Saturday, so I couldn't
You missed a good one. We had a lot of good people. Montel Jordan. We had
Montel's out here.
Frost, who won a Tony Award for playing Michael on.
He was late to the
Broadway.
picture.
He was late for the picture. We had to wait for him. Yep, he was a little late. But we had a good time, man. We had a good time. But you here.
Oh, we here?
We had the best weather. We doing it for a good cause. We doing scholarships at Morehouse. We doing homeless ministry. We doing church ministry. We doing all types of things, man. We even did a heart transplant.
And see, y'all, and that's why.
You need a new brain?
That's why. Oh, no.
You good?
No, this is an amazing brain. And that's why. That's why a couple years ago I just had to intercede in the auction, because Chris was like, okay, $20. I was like, Chris,
smart man.
It's a lot of stuff to pay for, Chris.
I know, and he did it for free, because I ain't gonna pay you nothing. He said, don't worry about that, man.
I got
you.
He
did it, man. I said, as long as it's for free, and he did. I love you, man. Thank you.
Baby.
Once again, you always here for me. Thank you.
All right, then. And when we had the award ceremony, my team placed fourth. We shot 19 under. I think 22 and 20 under one. Yeah, your boy was balling. Wait till we show you the video. Chris Tucker's also his birthday, and we did this. All right, shout out to Chris, his whole family, especially sister Tammy, for taking care of hooking all of us up, all the arrangements and everything. We certainly appreciate that. Again, let me thank Yolanda, Randy, and Renita for being on today's show. I certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Folks, that is it for us. I'm back in studio tomorrow, leaving Atlanta in the morning. But if you want to join our Bring the Funk fan club, please do so. As I said, the work that we do is about us. It's about speaking to us. We don't have, major corporations, and we don't have big money folk cutting us checks. So your support is crucial for us to do the work that we do. We plan on really traveling around this country for doing town halls, doing the show on the road for the elections. And so your support is really important. Join the Bring the Funk fan club. You want to contribute via Cash App, use a Stripe QR code. You see it right here. This is also for credit cards. Checks and money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered. Venmo, RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Samsung Smart TV. Also, of course, you want to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered swag, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Shopblackstarnetwork.com. You get all of our new merchandise. We've got some great new shirts and some other items. And so please go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. And all the products that you see in my studio, they are available as well. We've got more than 50 companies, folks, on our marketplace there. Everything you see right here, hats and dolls and backpacks and crossword puzzles and candles and skincare and all sorts of stuff, all available at shopblackstarnetwork.com. Folks, download the app Fanbase. Follow me at Roland S. Martin. And again, this week, we debut a new show, No Translation with Jeff Johnson. We're going to drop it on a Thursday. And so be sure to check it out. Y'all, that's it. Thank you so very much for joining us. Shout out to the 06 brothers. That's right. Y'all know I was rocking the black and old gold today. That's it. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Holla!